Hey there, it's Scott here, and today we're going to be talking about how to use the Lark app for your EasyS software program. First thing you're going to want to do, obviously, is download the app. Lark has an app for pretty much every platform. They have desktop and mobile. Desktop is actually useful for a couple of features that you don't get in the mobile version, but since you're likely going to be using mobile most of the time, today we're going to be looking at the mobile app. So whenever you download the app, the first thing that it's going to ask you is for your email. You're going to enter the email address that it was included in your welcome email. You'll check the box that says you've read the terms. You'll click next. It'll ask for your password. Again, you're going to enter the password that we sent you in your welcome email. And then when you hit next, it's either going to log you in straight away or it may send you a code. If it sends you a code, it will send a code to your email, not to the email that we created for your program. So just check that, your email, check the spam folder, see if you got a code. You'll enter that code and then you'll land on this page. So it may ask you for a code, it may not, it just depends. Now the first thing that we're going to want you to do whenever you log in is we're actually going to want you to set a profile photo. So you're going to do that by clicking this image right here. It will say M or it will say the initial of your name. So in this case it would say R. So you'll click that icon and then you'll click this little over arrow right here and this over arrow here, and it will let you upload your own picture. This picture makes me giggle. And the reason why we want you to upload a photo is just because this is the photo that's going to show up in the chat window. And so, it just makes it a little bit more personable for everyone for us to see each other's faces. So something else that you can do if you so desire is you can actually update your password. So we're providing you the password, but if you want to change that password just to make your account more secure for some reason, you can come over here and hit this settings button, go up to Account Security Center, and then you'll have an option down here at the bottom to set your login password to change it if you want to do that. Okay, so once you have logged in and you have set up your profile photo, you'll notice here on this window you have a couple different chats that are live. You have your private chat channel for the program, which you can see here for Ron. And then you're likely going to have a couple other chats that are open, and these chats are probably just generated by Lark themselves. So just to remove the clutter and to make it a little bit easier, anytime you're on this, this messages or chats screen, you can remove all of the chats that are not a part of your program simply by swiping them to the right and then clicking this done button, and that's going to remove them from this panel. If for some reason you accidentally mark done your private channel, you can just wait for us to post, because the next time that we post in that channel it will pop back up here in your what is considered your inbox, or you can click these filter buttons over here on the left up here and come down here to done. And whenever you click the done category there at the bottom, you'll see all of the chats that you've marked as done. And you can simply, again, swipe right on the chat and mark it as undone or send it back to the inbox, and it will pop up back in here. Okay, so let's go into the chat channel. This is where most of the program is going to be happening. And obviously this works just like any other chat, which you've done a million times. But the one thing that you may not have done, especially in Lark, is send audio messages. So to send audio message, you're going to select this icon down here with the little talking bubble and the text. That's going to open up this window. There's three different options here. You can send an audio and text. So this is going to record an audio, and then it's going to automatically transcribe that audio you can just record an audio and not have it be transcribed, or you can dictate to Lark and it will just send it as text. So you have the option to do either any of those. You're going to have to hold down, which is annoying, but you'll hold down this button to record your audio. And just so you're aware, there is a 5-minute limit on recordings. So as you're approaching that 5-minute limit, just be aware that if you need to continue, you'll have to send another message. But it also helps everybody keep our messages more concise. Instead of sending really long messages that because nobody likes to listen to really long messages. So there is a 5-minute limit. The other thing that I'll say is the transcriptions are going to happen automatically, especially if you choose this audio and text setting. Now the transcriptions are actually really good if you're speaking clearly. So if there's if the audio recording is not that great, maybe you're in the car or something like that, or if you are talking really fast or maybe not enunciating super well, then the transcriptions get a little sloppy, which just kind of makes sense. So again, the transcriptions are better the clearer you speak. And then this app was actually developed in China originally, and so if there are words that it doesn't recognize, sometimes it thinks you're speaking in Chinese, and it may occasionally populate Chinese characters into your transcript because it's what you said sounded more Chinese than it did English. So don't be surprised if that happens, just one of those quirks that we have to live with. Okay, so you'll see there's an audio message that Ron sent here that says he's so excited to be here. That was transcribed automatically. Now, one of the things that we can do to help keep the thread cleaned up a little bit is there's actually 2 different ways that you can respond to messages. So I'm going to hold down on this message that I sent that says, "Welcome, Scott." And you'll notice that there's an option to reply and there's an option to reply in thread. If you reply in thread, what that's going to do is it's going to let you send a message that is going to live inside, there we go, inside that other message. So you'll see it's up here inside this message. And so it keeps the threads really nice and clean instead of filling up the message thread with a bunch of additional replies. So when you reply, instead of just replying in thread, instead of it showing up here in this message and being attached to this message, your reply will actually show up down here as its own unique message, and it will just have a little line above it that says, hey, this is in response to the message that was way up there. And so because that's going to create a new message in the overall channel, it can be a little bit hard to keep track mentally of what you're responding to. So when it's possible, we want to be replying in thread instead of just replying. Now, there is one limitation to this. When you reply in thread, if you reply with an audio message, it's only going to transcribe the first 30 seconds or so. So that's definitely a limitation if you plan on replying with an audio message. So in that case, you would want to reply instead of reply in thread so that you can get a full transcription of your audio. But if you're just sending a written message, it's best to reply in thread instead of just replying. Okay, so as we are chatting more and more, this channel is going to get full of messages, and occasionally we're going to be sending links back and forth, maybe documents, referencing different things. And sometimes it can be hard to keep track of everything. Things might kind of get lost in the mix. So Lark has actually a really amazing search feature. If you come up here and click these triple dots and come down here to search chat history and click that open, what you can do is you can actually search through the entire thread for anything that has been said so far. And you can filter it by messages, docs, files, images and videos, or links. So if I wanted to find that link that was about Facebook ad headlines, I could click links. It's going to pull up a shortcut of the most recent links that have been sent. But if you don't see it there, and you can scroll through that, but if you don't see it there, you can type in what you want to search for. And what's cool about it is not only is it going to search the title, but for links, it's going to search the tagline. Now, on the mobile app, you can't see the tagline or the subtitle, but on the desktop version, you can. So if I type in the word campaign, it's also going to pull up this article because the word campaign is in the subtitle, which is pretty cool. It's the same thing if you're searching in docs. It can search sometimes inside the doc to find specific keywords to see if it's relevant for what you're searching. So the search is actually a pretty powerful feature. So anytime you're looking for something, and it can even be messages, it will search the transcriptions, so it'll actually pull up audio messages as well. So the search feature is really powerful, and you'll definitely want to use it whenever you're trying to look for something specific. Okay, so if you send a message that you didn't mean to send, you have a couple options for what to do about that. If you hold down on a message that you sent, you'll notice that there's a recall button, and then if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a delete button. So those two features function differently. Delete is actually just going to remove that message from your version of the thread. So it's deleting it from what you are able to see. Everybody else, me and Elise, we will still be able to see it. So you're just deleting it from what you can see. If what you mean to do is recall, where nobody else can see it, you're recalling the message, you want to use this recall button. And there is a 24-hour limit. So you will only be able to recall messages for the first 24 hours after you sent it. But when you recall it, it's going to remove it from everybody. Nobody is going to be able to see it. It will disappear entirely, and then you can send it all over again. So if you want to delete a message, you want to use recall rather than delete. You can also edit your message, but again, there's a 24-hour limit on being able to edit a message. So just be aware of that. Okay, something else that is usually ends up being pretty useful is your ability to copy text. So if a message was sent in text form, you can just highlight that and you'll notice that there is a copy button here so that you can copy all of that text, which is really nice. The one shortcoming is you cannot copy transcript text. If I hold down on this audio message, there is no copy button for copying the text. Now, a way to work around this is if you have the desktop app, you can actually copy transcript text in the desktop app. So that's one of the reasons why it's nice to have both is, again, if you have transcript messages that you want to be able to grab, a sentence or a couple sentences from, maybe Elise gave you some ideas for some headlines or for some copy, and you want to be able to just copy that out. If you pull it up in the desktop app, you can really easily just grab that text, but you cannot do it on the mobile app. Okay, the last thing that I'll talk about is, obviously there's a bunch of other features in here, but they're all pretty boilerplate. There's, you can send emojis, you can send images, you can tag people using the @ symbol, but all that's the same as you would expect in any other app. You can also send GIFs by clicking this little plus button down here. There's Jiffy so that you can send specific GIFs. But yeah, all that is pretty self-explanatory. The last thing that we'll talk about here is up at the top, you'll notice that there's a list of pinned items. And we are going to pin items occasionally, but you'll have a couple pinned right from the get-go. The first one is going to be, that I'm going to mention, is this one that says Phase 1. So this is actually your onboarding interview. Your onboarding interview is going to come in 2 separate phases. And so we'll pin each of them, but we're not going to pin the Phase 2 until after you've had a chance to complete Phase 1. So we pin it up to the top just so that it's real easy for you to click that button and have the onboarding interview pull up. And since you can save this interview and return to it, it just makes it easy to find your way back to it. And then again, once you finish Phase 1, we'll go ahead and pin Phase 2 as well, and you'll be able to do the same. And then we'll just leave those pins there. So if in the future you want to go back and reference those, you should be able to click those links and be able to see the answers that you submitted. Okay, then the other pin that you'll notice is a resources pin. This is some documents that we have preloaded in here for you that I'm just going to walk through real quickly. There's going to be 4 in here. The very first one is a Start Here document. So this document is actually just going to walk you through a lot of the, can't screen record this, but it's going to walk you through a lot of the things that you want to know about the program right at the beginning. So I definitely encourage you to read through that. There's some important information for starting the program in there. The next link is a link actually to this video that you're watching right now. It is a tutorial that if, for some reason you want to go back and watch this video again, you can find a link to it there. The next one here is your resource library. So occasionally we may have resources that we don't want to just post in the thread, in the message thread, because we're afraid it might get lost. In which case we might post it here in the resource library for you. So you can go in there, and we won't post things in there without telling you, so it's not like you have to regularly be checking on it. But we'll do it that way just so that it's easy to access those resources. You don't have to go searching for them in the message thread. And then the last one is the check-in. So we're going to send a weekly check-in once a week at the beginning of the week. That is just going to ask you some simple questions just so that we're kind of all on the same page going into each week. So we will send a reminder that we'll put inside the message thread for filling out your weekly check-in. So you're not really going to have to come over here to navigate to the check-in unless you want to maybe review some of your past submissions. You can come in here and click this open and review the check-ins you've already submitted. Otherwise, you don't have to worry about navigating to this. We'll include a link to it every week, and that will just be automated, so make it really easy. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to point out is there are some features in here that we're not really going to use. You'll notice the bar down here at the bottom. It has a tasks feature. Here's a good example. When I replied to that message, it pulled it out in the inbox so that I noticed the reply. But I don't want that in here because it's just going to clutter it up. So again, you can just swipe on it and hit done and remove it. That way it keeps this nice and clean. So like I was saying, there's some features in here that we're not going to use. There's this one called tasks where essentially you can create checklists for yourself and create tasks. We're not going to use that. You're welcome to use it if you want to. There's also a more button that pulls up a couple other features that, again, we're not going to be using. So The only thing we're really going to be using is messages, and then we have the docs, which is just those 4 resource documents. So that is everything about Lark that you need to know to get started. Your next step is going to be to go ahead and download the app, log in, and then set up your profile picture, and then read that Start Here document, just so that we're all on the same page and we're all starting from the same place. And then after that, just hop in the chat channel. We'll already be in there waiting for you. Excited to welcome you in. So, of course, if you have any questions as you're getting set up, you're always welcome to email us, or if you're already in the app, then you can just send us a message. Otherwise, we're so excited that you're here, and we will talk to you soon.